Hello everybody, welcome to my channel.
Jason Robards, a master of gravitas, grit, and American stage power. Jason Robards wasn't just an actor, he was one of those rare performers who seemed to carry the entire weight of American drama in the lines of his face. Over a career that spanned more than half a century, he moved effortlessly between stage and screen, refining a legacy built on emotional honesty, intellectual heft, and a voice that could slice through a theater like a blade. Early life, born into the spotlight, but running from it, too. Jason Nelson Robards Jr. was born on July 26, 1922, in Chicago, into a household where acting was already the family business. His father, Jason Robards Sr., had been a silent film star, but sound cinema wasn't kind to him. The elder Robards' fading career cast a long psychological shadow, one that Jason Jr. spent years wrestling with. After high school, he joined the U.S. Navy and fought in World War II. Surviving the bombing of the USS Northampton at Guadalcanal. That experience, raw, terrifying, life-changing, shaped him profoundly. Robards later admitted that surviving the war gave him a kind of spiritual second chance, one he poured straight into acting. The stage, the actor O'Neill was waiting for. If you're talking Robards, you have to talk Edward Albee, Eugene O'Neill, and the golden age of mid-century American theater. Robards became the defining interpreter of O'Neill's tortured, muscular language. In plays like The Iceman Cometh, Long Day's Journey into Night, and Huey, he didn't just perform O'Neill, he channeled him. Critics routinely said he understood the playwright better than anyone alive. His stage work wasn't flashy or mannered, it was grounded, human, and volcanic when it mattered. This was acting with marrow in it. Hollywood breakthrough and stardom. While theater made Robards a legend, Hollywood eventually recognized his brilliance and handed him back-to-back Academy Awards. Best Supporting Actor, 1976, All the President's Men, where he played a perfectly world-weary Ben Bradlee. Best Supporting Actor, 1977, Julia, delivering intensity with effortless cool. This two-year sweep basically cemented him as the go-to actor when filmmakers needed someone who radiated authority and authenticity. He added another Oscar nomination for Melvin and Howard, 1980, proving he wasn't fading anytime soon. In the film world, Robards had a superpower. He made every scene feel smarter. He didn't overplay. He didn't pontificate. He just showed up, lived truthfully. And suddenly the movie around him had more backbone. A man weathered by life, and strengthened by it. Robards battled alcoholism for years, a fight that almost cost him his career and his life. After a devastating car crash in 1972, he took sobriety seriously and rebuilt himself from the ground up. His recovery became an inspiration within the acting community, proof that resilience could be as heroic as any role. Later career, a wise elder statesman of cinema through the 80s and 90s. Jason Robards kept working with the same quiet excellence that defined him, a tender, heartbreaking grandfather in Magnolia, an unforgettable presence in Philadelphia, a force of nature in countless TV films and theatrical revivals. Even when he wasn't the lead, Robards had that magical thing. He could walk on screen and instantly lift the emotional temperature. Legacy. The actor. Other actors. Quote: Jason Robards passed away on December 26, 2000. But his legacy? Still kicking, still shining, still required reading for any serious student of acting. He remains the gold standard for embodying complex men, flawed, poetic, haunted, funny, devastatingly real. Directors adored him. Actors idolized him. Audiences trusted him. He was the guy who could make you feel like he'd lived every line before he spoke it. Jason Robards. The depth behind the legend, more insights, more layers, the O'Neill connection. A once-in-a-century match. Robards' association with Eugene O'Neill wasn't just actor meets playwright. It was mythic. Actors like to boast about being born for a role, but Robards seemed born for an entire playwright's canon. Here's why he clicked so beautifully with O'Neill: he understood emotional turbulence. O'Neill's worlds are full of ghosts, regrets, and family secrets, all things Robards had lived through. His voice and cadence fit O'Neill's rhythm. Dense, musical, almost Shakespearean lines. Robards made them sound like confessions. He refused to sentimentalize O'Neill. He played the pain without sugarcoating it. His performance as Hickey in The Iceman Cometh, especially the legendary 1956 off-Broadway production, is still regarded as near holy in acting circles. People swear the air in the theater felt different when he walked out. A personal life full of fire and change. Jason Robards didn't live a boring life, far from it. He married 4 times, including to Hollywood royalty, Lauren Bacall, his second wife, who loved him deeply but couldn't tame his alcoholism. Their marriage was passionate and messy, ending after Robards' drinking spiraled. Later, he found stability with his 4th wife, Lois O'Connor, who remained with him until his death. He had 6 children, several of whom became artists in their own right, including actor Sam Robards, who inherited some of his father's grounded charm. That legendary drinking, and the comeback Robards' struggle with alcohol was an open secret in Hollywood and New York theater. The man was charming and brilliant, but booze dragged him into darkness. The turning point came in 1972, when he crashed his car into a building in Los Angeles, nearly killing himself. That accident was a brutal wake-up call. He entered rehab, got sober, and became a fixture in the recovery community, encouraging younger actors to seek help early instead of destroying themselves for the craft. His post-recovery performances? Sharper, cleaner, deeper, like he had reclaimed pieces of himself. Working style. The actor who refused to show off. Robards never bought into actorly ego. He wasn't method, and he wasn't theatrical. He believed in stillness, the idea that emotion doesn't need gesturing or shouting, it needs truth. Directors adored him because he always came prepared. He elevated the entire cast. He was allergic to self-indulgence. When he played Ben Bradlee in All the President's Men, he didn't try to imitate Bradlee. He captured the man's confidence, humor, and razor-sharp mind with effortless understatement. That was the Robards' magic trick. He made acting look like breathing. Late career brilliance. An artist aging like fine whiskey. Even as he entered his 60s and 70s, Robards kept surprising people. In Magnolia, he played Earl Partridge, a dying man haunted by regret, with such rawness that audiences were blindsided. In Philadelphia, he brought a chilling dignity to the role of a powerful, principled lawyer. And in a dozen TV roles, he brought that unmistakable intelligence and gravity that directors loved him for. He was older, his voice a little raspier, his presence a little heavier, but the fire never left. Awards, honors, and that sweet Triple Crown status. Very few actors pull off the Triple Crown, Oscar plus Tony plus Emmy. Robards did it without breaking a sweat. 2 Oscars, 1 Tony Award, 1960, The Disenchanted, 1 Emmy Award, 1988, Inherit the Wind, and The Funny Thing. He treated awards like garnish. Nice but irrelevant. What mattered to him was the work. He even received the National Medal of Arts and the Kennedy Center honors, cementing him as one of America's cultural pillars. A legacy built on honesty. Jason Robards' gift wasn't glamour, it was integrity. He didn't chase trends or fame. He wasn't a tabloid star. He didn't act for applause. He acted because stories mattered and because truth mattered. And honestly, That's why he still feels timeless. Jason Robards. The expanded portrait, even more depth, more texture, more legend. The war that shaped him. A survivor's shadow. A lot of actors pretend to understand trauma. Robards lived it. Serving as a radio man in the U.S. Navy during World War II, he was aboard the USS Northampton when it was struck by Japanese torpedoes during the Battle of Tassafaronga in 1942. He survived by swimming for hours in the dark Pacific, waiting to be rescued. That experience stayed inside him forever. He talked about it rarely, but when he did, he admitted the war cracked something open in him, a deep well of seriousness and introspection that later fueled his acting. It's not a stretch to say that every wounded, haunted character he ever played carried a bit of that night at sea. Breaking into the business, with zero Nepo baby benefits, though his father had once been a silent film star. Jason Robards didn't roll into Hollywood on a velvet path. In fact, he spent years avoiding the idea of becoming an actor because he didn't want to replicate his father's heartbreak. When he finally embraced the craft, he didn't get help from the family name. His father's popularity had long fizzled. Robards worked odd jobs, scraped his way into theater companies, and built his reputation on sheer force of talent and grit. People forget this part. He wasn't an overnight success. He was a slow burn, the kind that lasts. Theater titan. His most famous roles, and why they matter. Let's get granular with the stage roles that made him a legend. Hickey, the Iceman cometh. This wasn't just a performance. It was an exorcism. Robards delivered Hickey's final monologue like someone peeling his own chest open. Jamie Tyrone. Long day's journey into night. This is the ultimate O'Neill tragic son. Broken, brilliant, resentful, self-aware to the point of agony. Robards nailed it with a ferocity that made critics run out of adjectives. Eerie Smith, Huey. This one-man-ish play showed off Robards' ability to command a stage with nuance and soul. Many actors struggle with O'Neill's cadences. Robards made them feel natural, even conversational. Charlie in The Disenchanted, which won him a Tony, a role loosely based on writer F. Scott Fitzgerald, fragile, decaying, trying to hold on to dignity. Robards' portrayal was so authentic people swore he was channeling Fitzgerald himself. The 1970s, when Hollywood finally woke up after years of theater triumphs. Robards hit a streak of magnificent film roles. 1,000 Clowns, 1965, his first Oscar nomination. He brought warmth and anti-establishment charm to the screen. All the President's Men, 1976, Robards' Ben Bradley is one of the great newsroom portrayals. Steady, sharp, morally grounded. He didn't mimic Bradley, he distilled him. Julia, 1977, his second Oscar win. Jason Robards playing writer Dashiell Hammett? Yes, please. He gave the character swagger, sadness, and wit. Melvin and Howard, 1980, another Oscar nomination. Proving he was still at the top of his game. A mentor to young actors, Robards was never a flashy acting teacher, but many rising actors sought him out for advice. His guidance tended to be blunt, funny, and piercing. A few of his favorite lines: "Don't show me the acting. Show me the truth. If you're thinking about the audience, you're already lying. Stillness is the most dangerous thing you can do on stage, and the most powerful." He taught actors not to chase applause but to chase honesty. Personality. Quiet fire with a disarming humor. He looked stern, but people who knew him say he was incredibly funny. Dry, quick, sometimes mischievous. He loved literature, jazz, and long conversations over coffee, or, in earlier days, whiskey. He had a kind of rugged charm. Not celebrity charm, human charm. He could make strangers feel like old friends without trying. final years, a graceful exit. Robards kept acting into the 1990s, even after a serious car crash and health issues. His last film, Magnolia, 1999, is almost like his farewell letter. A man confronting mortality, regret, love, and forgiveness. The way he whispers, "Go now," to Tom Cruise's character? One of those film moments that sticks. He passed away the next year, in 2000, leaving behind a career packed with unforgettable performances. Jason Robards. Even more layers, more stories, more soul. His father's ghost. The wound that drove him. Jason Robards' relationship with his father, Jason Robards Sr., is one of the biggest emotional threads in his life. It shaped him in ways he didn't always talk about but absolutely carried. His father's career collapsed when silent films gave way to talking pictures, and the bitterness ate at him. Robards Jr. grew up watching the fallout, shame, disappointment, missed chances. The cruelty of Hollywood's changing tides. This had two big impacts on Jason. 1. He was terrified of trying acting at first. He didn't want to suffer the same heartbreak. He didn't want to repeat the family tragedy. 2. When he finally did pursue acting, he did it with a ferocity like he was trying to rewrite his father's story. The success he achieved, the awards, the acclaim, the respect, it wasn't just his own catharsis. It was redemption for the Robards name. Years later, he spoke kindly of his dad, with a tenderness that makes you feel he wished he could go back in time and ease his father's pain. Robards performed complicated fathers for the rest of his life, and maybe that's why he played them so beautifully. Robards and literature. A secret love affair. Most people know Jason Robards for acting, but behind the performances was a man obsessed with books. He loved American writers with big feelings and big flaws. Eugene O'Neill, Ernest Hemingway, Thomas Wolfe, F. Scott Fitzgerald, Dashiell Hammett. He didn't just read them, he absorbed them. His roles often felt like living portraits of their worlds. Literature shaped his acting style too. He played characters like chapters, not lines. He understood arc, rhythm, psychological layering. It's one reason he could bring so much humanity to even the smallest moment. Directors who worshipped him. And why? You know how some actors walk into a room and directors think, "Oh, thank God, the grown-up arrived." That was Robards. Here are a few filmmakers who adored him. Sidney Pollack loved Robards' clarity and sense of truth. Said he could fix the tone of a scene with one look. Alan J. Pakula, All the President's Men, said Robards needed fewer takes than almost any actor he ever worked with, not because he was rushed, but because he arrived fully alive in the scene. Paul Thomas Anderson, Magnolia, worshipped him. Jason was one of the emotional anchors of the entire movie. Anderson said Robards had an old-world honesty you can't train. Fred Zinnemann, Julia, told friends Robards was the actor who makes other actors better without ever showing off. The Robards voice, a thing of legend. Let's talk about that voice. Slow, sandy, resonant, like someone who's smoked, laughed, cried, and thought deeply about life. He could deliver a sentence with gravitas, ruefulness, a pinch of irony, and a lifetime of experience, all in one breath. It's no wonder he became the go-to guy for characters who needed authority without arrogance. He sounded like someone who had lived things the rest of us just read about. Politics and principles, quiet, but iron strong. Robards wasn't bombastic about politics, but he had deeply rooted beliefs. He despised censorship. He supported artistic freedom fiercely. He clashed with Hollywood's blacklist era. He backed journalists, writers, and civil liberties. His performance in All the President's Men wasn't just acting, he truly admired the bravery behind the story. Post-rehab Jason, a new man. A new artist after his devastating car crash in 1972 in his life or death recovery, Robards came out different. Not just sober, clear. Friends said, he smiled more. He apologized for past behavior with humility. He approached acting with more gratitude than intensity. He became.
Bye bye. Thanks for watching. Bye.